Hi, it's Mark Bosser from Top Local Lead Generation. We're here with award-winning realtor in Vancouver, Paul Toffoli. How are you doing today, Paul?
I'm well, Mark.
So, Paul, I guess we're going to talk about the real estate buying process in BC, specifically Vancouver. I guess there's not really a ton of difference throughout the whole province, but I imagine that one of the really key things would be getting expert advice to walk you through a pretty complicated process. Is that right?
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things that I would advise people when you're first starting out the process. Um, we're going to talk about this more in the upcoming weeks about the entirety of the process because it is a fairly complex process buying a property. Um, but one of the first steps that I recommend to people is, you know what, get some expert advice. If you're buying a car, if you're going to take it to a mechanic, if you're if you're investing your finances in the stock market, you're going to talk to a professional, you're going to talk to an expert. It's all that much more important when you're buying real estate to get expert advice because, boy, there's lots of things to be careful about. It's a multifaceted project. I mean, there's a financial component, there's a construction component, and then there's the laws and regulations about buying real estate. There's a legal component because you're talking about contracts. It's complicated. So what I suggest to people is interview some realtors. Talk to a couple of people. I mean, if you want to just talk to one, feel free to just talk to me. But it makes sense to me to talk to a couple of people. And what I usually do with clients is or potential new clients is we sit down over a coffee and we talk. And I talk to people about my background. I talk to people about the process that we go through in the buying process. I lay the cards open on the table and say, ask me anything you want. Grill me on, how I work. Ask me the tough questions. How do I get paid? What do we look for when we're buying real estate? There's contract questions, there's inspection questions, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm very comfortable saying, and do that with one or two other realtors as well, because you want to be working with somebody who's a really comfortable fit for you. At the end of the day, it can be a very enjoyable process, but it can also be a very intense process. You want to have a level of trust and comfort with the person you're working with, that they're going to give you solid advice that suits your needs and your requirements. Because it's not a cookie cutter world. Everybody's different. Everybody's got different things that they need. And you want to have a comfort level with the realtor you're working with. And also, the same goes with a mortgage broker. There's lots of different financing options out there right now. There's the big banks. There's credit unions. There's private lenders. There's a plethora of options. Right now, interest rates are not relatively low. They're darn low. And that may change in the next few years. So you want to have an understanding on what that will mean to you. What is your ability to change your mortgage from the form you may start with to another form? How's it going to affect your credit rating? So those are things that you're going to need advice from a mortgage broker. And again, it makes sense to me to talk to a couple of different people to get the information, again, get a comfort level and get an understanding. One of the things I've got a mortgage broker that I have a strong relationship with, and one of the things she says to new clients is to go to their existing bank and see what the bank's going to offer them, and then come back and have an informed discussion and just find out what all the different options are. So the first thing I recommend to people is talk to some experts in the field, so you get advice moving forward into what can be a really complex process.
I think that sums it up as far as what we wanted to discuss today. I think it's having been through it a few times now, and had it been easy and incredibly scary,
Yes.
being able to trust the person who's negotiating on your behalf, guiding you through the process is, for me, was, well, when I didn't, it was horrible, and when I did, and horrible in terms of I don't ever want to buy another house, kind of horrible, and the second time or third time was, wow, this is just really easy, and thank God,
Yeah.
all the gotchas were looked after. And none of those times were with you, Paul, because you're too darn far away.
Yeah. And that's one of the things is it really is about getting a comfort level with the person you're going to work with, having that trust because it really is about trust, and making sure you have somebody you're working with that knows their stuff and has been through it more than once before. So yeah, that's how I seek out advice when I'm working in a field that I'm not familiar with, and that's how I recommend people proceed when they're working in my field of expertise.
Awesome. So, Paul, thank you. We've been talking with award-winning realtor in Vancouver, Paul Toffoli. You can reach Paul at toffoli.ca, or you can give him a call, set up a coffee, 604-787-6963. Thanks, Paul.
Thanks, Mark.